Luc Stephen,
Yes, sir.
welcome to Vlad TV.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Get right into it. Give people some insight on your incredible roller coaster path to this point. So you were born in Haiti in the latter 60s
Yes.
to a mother that was a seamstress and a father that was a senator in the Haitian government. He was also one of the draftees of the 1946 Haitian Constitution. Your father self-exiled in 1960 after 2 attempted assassinations by Clement Bobo's murderous squad, the Tonton Makute, right? Due to his opposition of the despot Francois Duvalier, nicknamed Papa Doc, who killed in excess of 60,000 of his countrymen. Your mother moved you to Boston when you were 2 years old, where you spent the next several years. But after experiencing multiple racist encounters during the Boston busing protests, your mom moved you to Jamaica Queens at the age of 14, where you attended Andrew Jackson High School, which was at the time a basketball powerhouse with a 99.9% black student body, which I guess was into the whole racist thing. You made the basketball team your freshman year and played a part of your sophomore year, but then you discovered girls. You began selling loose joints at local clubs to put money in your pocket, and it was around this time you began cutting classes for hooky parties of the projects.
Yes.
There came a time when you could no longer tolerate your mother's strict Haitian home, which led to a final showdown. I would like to hear about that, after which you left for good. Now you're out of your mother's home and staying with friends. On your own, it's not long before you realize that loose joint money ain't gonna get it. And, it's at this point where you're introduced to sneak thieving.
Yes.
In local businesses where you like stealthily steal from like the cash registers and the safes and in the locker rooms.
Yes.
Right? You eventually step up to small-time drug dealing in Lincoln Park, infamous Lincoln Park, with your friends. And it was in that park in 1982 where you would meet Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I guess, when you got...
Might have been 81. 81, 82.
Yeah.
About that, yeah.
So that's when you were tall enough to ride this ride. That's when that roller coaster began.
Yeah, that's when I became... Well, as the terminology says, that's when I'm outside.
Okay, all right. So... Question, at any point prior to leaving Boston, did you have any idea why your mother had moved you there?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I didn't find out about that until latter years, and really didn't find out about it until my daughter and my sister found out about my sisters and brothers from my father's side. Maybe right before the pandemic, 2019, I met my other brothers and sisters from my father's side. Father had 10 kids. Including me, including myself. My mother had 6, not from my father. So I got 5 sisters.
Wow. Okay. So what was South Jamaica like when you arrived?
South Jamaica, when I arrived, regular neighborhood. Not a regular neighborhood, but when I first arrived, I still played ball when I first arrived. And again, once I went to Andrew Jackson, it was like hanging out in the projects, you're dealing with the girls. And even the guys that I hung out with then, they weren't really into the life, but I was fascinated with what I was seeing as far as the street life. You had the pimps back then. You had the drug dealers, the 98s, the caddies, British walkers, playboys, Revel Knox on Jamaica Avenue. So, that's what was attracting me, But the schoolmates that I hung out with, they played ball. Like, say, Grandmaster Vic, he became a DJ when we were playing hooky parties at his house. Rat and Monkey, they also became DJs. And I don't know, something took me away from hanging out and hang out with them to the street life.
So before I forget, let's go back a bit to the final showdown that led to you
to leaving home.
Going outside.
All right, so my oldest children's mother, my mother never wanted the relationship to happen. She's like a strict Haitian mom, and she didn't want me dealing with American women because all they wanted to do was have babies and get on welfare. So one time, can't even recall what the beef was about, but, my mother was, stand in the corner. And at that time, she told me to stand in the corner, and I just...
How old were you?
I guess maybe 14. Stand in the corner. And when she told me to stand in the corner, I didn't stand in the corner. I walked out the crib, never to return at that time until I could be standing on my own. So it was just I didn't want to live under her. If you live in someone's house, you got to live by their rules.
Thanks.
So I didn't want to live by those rules no more. So I had to. Instead of her putting me out, I left out.
So how did you initially get started selling loose joints?
Again, hanging in the projects. They were DJing, going to the club. I can remember, actually, it was a friend of mine's from the projects. God bless Dougie Grant. His brothers used to sell weed, so we used to buy dimes or half ounces, roll them up in the hallway, go to the clubs like Fantasia and La Chalette, and we would sell out loose joints. We didn't go to the same school, but we hung out because I was hanging out in the projects. 40 projects.
40 projects. What was 40 projects like then? What year are we talking about? We're
talking about 79, 78.
So what were 40 projects back in that time?
Well, I mean, you had different areas of 40 projects. So the 40 projects that I came into it was just cool. I would be at different families' households. It was togetherness. It was family orientated. It wasn't the other side. Just because it's the projects doesn't mean that it was bad. I actually loved the camaraderie of being there. Maybe that's what attracted me. But then it was something else calling me to I guess maybe it was the money.
So
what I was saying.
As familial as it was, as much camaraderie as you observed, you were also seeing another element too.
Yes.
You were seeing some flash or some dash that caught your eye.
Yes. Lobster tails, 98s, Cadillacs.
White wool ties. And
different kind of women.
Yeah,
different kind of women that I couldn't get when I was in school. That they were coming to the school and getting.
Okay.
So,
so how did you first meet Fat Cat?
Basically, me and his niece used to talk, hang out. So I kind of from sneak thieving, I would always have a stash of $100 bills. So I would always ask him for change, every day. Could you change this 100? Could you change this 100? Could you change this 100 every day? Plus, she might have said something, she might not, but it made me get noticed because I'm a young boy and I'm changing $100 bills every day.
All right. So the sneak thieving took place before the joint selling.
No, the sneak thieving took place after the joint selling because I was still at home selling the joints. After I left home, selling joints is not going to help me to survive on my own.
Got it.
So then you had to get into something else. I met a brother named Wack, Gregory Evans, and AJ. AJ kind of showed me how to do small-time drug dealing, but Wack from Lincoln Park, rest his soul also, he passed away. That's who put me on to sneak thieving. So I would stay at his house or AJ's house in the interim. So
give me a basic scenario where you go out, you sneak thief, and how that went.
Basic scenario is we might get in the train, go to Manhattan. I think back then, I'm not sure they had night deposits. So the proceedings from the previous night might be in a money bag underneath the cash register. Wack might go pull the owner like he's looking for a job to another area. I was really small back then. And I would sneak in, sneak behind the counter, get the money back, sneak out. And after he keeps talking or signing applications for a job, we'd be out on the train back to Queens cutting up the money.
You ever got caught doing that?
Yeah.
So what they do? They have you were a little
That's
kid.
Grand Larceny. I went to when I was in Deer Park. There was a car wash. So you know how you have the car washes. So snuck into the car wash. You know, it's a long thing. The office is open. Went in there. Some money bag. It was like a stack. Took the money bag. Dude is chasing us. We running. I'm running out of breath. You know what I'm saying? My cousin has the bag. He brings the bag back and then runs. It's like, you should have ran with the money because I'm going to get out and we can split the money. But
Why did he bring the bag back?
I don't know. Because I convinced him to do something that he doesn't do.
Oh.
Because he worked. But I was like, yo, I got a way we can make some money. Come out with me. So, you know, as I was getting influenced, I'm influencing others now.
Right.
Because now they want to be like me.
That's how we spread the infection, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
But with all the best intentions, though, it's like if I've figured out some kind of way to get access to the things that we are enamored with at this point, then it's not that I want you to be like me, it's that I want you to be able to do like me, and this is what I got to offer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't got no job, I'm a kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably the most common way that cats get caught up.
Exactly.
You don't even know you're getting caught up.
Yeah.
So Fat Cat, you are involved with his niece. You're doing this thing that sounds pretty calculated to me, where you're constantly having, hey, can you change this? Honey, can you change this?
Well,
honey?
I mean, I was a 90s student, so I got a little thought process to me. You know what I'm saying? I can think past go.
Yeah.
So I thought past go.
So why did you target Fat Cat with your prowess?
Because at Lincoln Park, I guess he just came home. You had this place called 150th Street.
Mm-hmm.
So
150th Street, infamous.
150th Street, it's like $1 million a day, maybe more, coming through that block on a daily basis. So even though we're creeping
in those days,
so even though we're creeping or sneak thieving, you can't just go on 150th Street. You know, I had a friend of mine that got put on the block first, and that's what helped turn me onto the block. So he's coming home every day. Sometimes you go sneak thieving, you don't come back with nothing. You understand what I'm saying?
You got to catch somebody slipping.
He's coming back with knots of money every day. You know what I'm saying? His chest is out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want some of that.
And he was formerly sneak thieving.
He was formerly sneak thieving. So, you know, and he's coming up there, he's just flexing, like, you know what I'm saying? And he's cool with Cat, and he's talking to, even though he wasn't down with him, but everybody on the block, like the block, that's like a family, like a family. So it might be different people out there, you know what I'm saying? But like it was different. It was enticing. It was like, yeah, I need that in my life.
So you meet Fat Cat. This is a younger Fat Cat.
Mm-hmm.
He's a few years older than us.
Mm-hmm.
What's he like at this time?
He's a hustler. He's trying to churn, get $1 out of 15 cents. He's grinding.
Is he mid-level kind of?
No, he's getting hit, and he's hitting his crew with drugs. It's not a lot of drugs, but we block boys. So, you know, it's like when you're on the block, a little bit goes a long way. So it's not like he's getting keys and keys and keys. You don't need that. And plus, back then, the dope is taking 50, 70.
Right, so you're talking heroin.
Heroin, yeah. So it's like I might get an 8-ball, I'm putting it on a 50.
So you got 3.5 grams.
Times 50.
Times 50. 3.5 grams might cost you at that time
$12.50.
$12.50.
$12.50. No one would pay that now. They'd be like $12.50. Like a gram is $400. Now a gram is $30, $40. Like,
right.
You know what I'm
not
saying?
the same stuff though. Bro.
Oh yeah, definitely not the same stuff.
Shot.
Not by a long shot.
So you finagle this relationship with Fat Cat, and you're starting to get material.
I didn't get. Really, wasn't the we didn't get a relationship yet. It was just about getting on the block. Once I get on the block,
About being to get on 50th Street.
you know,
So prior to
get
that,
on,
you hustling. Where you at? You hustling in the park?
it's in the park, but that's not. It's not really no money like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're gonna make some money because the people is just personally getting drugs from you, but you can't make a living selling at that time. You can't make a living selling drugs in Lincoln Park at that time. That's just
all the
extra money.
Yeah, all the
You know what I'm
action
saying?
is
like
is
you're
out 50.
actually making more money sneak thieving than selling drugs in the park at that time. Now maybe on Rockaway Boulevard it was a little bit more action, but at that time, for me, my story, that's how it was. 150th Street was the place to be. I wanted to get on 150, and then once I got on 150, our relationship got stronger because I made him money. You want to get closer to someone, make them some money.
That's right.
So that's how we got tight, because I was making him money. Because other people, I mean, he did show me some things, because he had a stamp that he gave me, Pink Shade.
And the stamp, for those that don't know,
is the name of the dope. So he gave me a stamp called Pink Shade. The reason he had Pink Shade is if the dope heroin took a 35 or 40 or 50, he put it on a 12. So while the rest of the crew is maximizing, I'm putting mine on the 12, which means I'm getting flips every day. So I might get an 8 ball, which I'm paying $12.50 for, and I might make $17.50, but I'm making it in a day. So I'm making money because I'm getting a flat fit.
$500.
Yeah. Give or take, because you got to pay toddlers, you got to take losses, you have to do this.
Touters. So
touters.
Touters
is the ones that they steer customers to you.
That's right.
That's what touters do. So
they're usually people who are themselves addicts.
Yes.
They have some sort of reputation amongst other addicts that says, I know good dope. So if you got a customer that everybody knows is a hardcore dope fiend, you get that guy to tout for you.
Yes.
Any of your bags. How much were your bags?
$10 and $25.
All right. So you give them 2 off a $10 bag.
No, I would give them, I would come down, I would just give them a bag. So being that I had probably, when I came out, one of the better brands, once I'm hitting them, everybody wants to tout for me, because
you got a product that's going to flip.
Yeah. And not only that, it's a product that's going to get them off E, and it's going to get them high.
Right. Get them out the gate.
Yeah. And that's what they needed, because a lot of times it'd be like, yo, man, you know, like the heroin, like, you know, you can't walk. You know what I'm saying? Some people, you couldn't use the bathroom. The joints are screwed up. Like it physically,
eyes running.
Heroin physically takes a toll on you.
That's right.
And at that time, I'm not understanding that I'm destroying the community.
Yeah, you facilitating this.
Yeah, I just want to make money. I want to get, you know, 2-finger rings and Chinese name plates and 98. So that's what I'm into. I'm caught up now.
Indeed. So this is how you start with the hard narcotics. You start getting this work that's taking a heavy hit. You hitting it light. You got a stamp that's already established, and that having an established stamp that has a reputation is like opening a McDonald's. When people see a McDonald's anywhere it is, they go, "That's McDonald's."
Yeah.
They don't have to say, "Hey, there's a new restaurant on the corner. I don't know anything about it. Let's go over there and try it. Maybe good, maybe not." It's McDonald's. The stamp is established. So on top of having this great product, you have this stamp that's reputable.
Yes.
So it's not long before you making some decent money.
Yeah.
So what kind of money are you seeing on a daily basis at this particular point once your thing starts
at the beginning?
Turning?
No, like you said, depends on how often I want to go out. So I can finish that 3.5, but then, you know, like you notice, I got a little intelligence with me. Mm-hmm. So for $12.50, I can give a gram of mines for $500 and don't have to come out. So I'm getting the money that I'm
responsible for,
and I'm still being able to pay and don't have to come out.
And $500. How old are you now? At this point?
Probably 16.
$500.
Back then, it was pretty good.
I mean, it would be the equivalent to about $1,800 now. So whatever you could buy with $1,800 today, you could buy with $500 back then.
When you put it like that, I was making some good money.
You're making some good money. That was another thing that really didn't register with us back then.
Yeah.
We didn't recognize. We were so busy looking at our elders. One of mine is in the building with us now, thanks to you. Shout out to Tyson. And, you know, we didn't understand. We were so busy looking at their money that we didn't understand how much, respectively, how much money we were making. You know what I mean?
There was no value.
Right.
Because even after I did my bid or whatever, I never thought that this would end. Even when the money started coming in, $50,000 a week and all that other stuff, it's like, this is never going to end, because we always had a logic of, like I said, we're on the block. You buy a joint, we get 100,000 a joint. If we getting 10 joints,
Joint being
a kilo. You buying 10 joints, that's $1 million for the crew in a week, because we're getting 100,000. Of course, you got overhead. You have girls that's bagging up. You got security that's taking the packages to the spots. But ain't no one making $1 million from 10 joints flipping them.
But you're not talking. You're talking about cocaine now.
I'm talking about cocaine.
Yeah.
That's after I come home. The heroin was the whole.
We're gonna get to that, and that is something that also is interesting. The disparity between the profit potential in heroin and cocaine. It's not even comparable. It's like adult money and kid money.
Yeah.
For real.
Oh, no.
You know?
Listen, you make a ton of money with heroin. You have to understand, especially like you might have had people coming from out of town, they buying quarters back then because it's scramble. Like
Scramble meaning
you take 3-1 or 2-1 with the quinine and bonita. Depending on how much, that's how the rush is going to come when they shoot it. So if I'm going 3-1, it's going to be a slower rush than if I went 2-1. The quinine is what
that's
the rush.
Contact.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
the bonita is innocuous. It doesn't have
yeah.
it just gives it weight.
Yeah. So you got to figure like again, I'm putting on a 12. You got guys that was putting dope on a 50, but their package takes all week. But they're still making money. They ain't making the money. They're not flipping the money. We're making the same amount of money in the same amount of time. But he's making more money off of me than he's making off them, because it's taking you longer to sell yours and I'm flipping mine. I'm getting a smaller amount of profit margin, but it all adds up at the end of the week.
Doing it more frequently.
Yes.
I mean, which comes out to more work, more table work.
Yes.
More materials, more bags.
More jobs for people that's
more
working.
Employment.
So as a street entrepreneur, everybody wants to work with me because my cash flow is better. So everybody wants to work for me.
Mm-hmm. What were some of the other names, the other noted names that you came across or were exposed to on 150th at that time?
Danny. Skinner. Danny had the green door. Skinner. Chief. Diablo. Cliff. Tyson. So, you know.
When did you...
Damn, I forgot. What was my man name with the motorcycles? Tillery.
Yeah.
But see, I was a little dude, like we had 98. So the first time I encountered Bump was
and for clarity, you talking about Ronnie Bump.
Yeah, was he had a BM. So BMs look like spaceships. Like even though they compared now, but you have to remember, like this is back in '82. And he came to, I guess, the number spot that was on 150th Street that later became me and Cat's grocery store when I came home. Mm-hmm. That used to be the number spot or the gambling spot. And all the old timers, the Diablos, the Chiefs, I believe, I can't say for sure what their business was, but that was where the mob figures would come in at. Because I guess they was doing the numbers. And my first encounter of seeing him or someone pointing him out was he had the BMW. Then, of course,
Ronnie
it's
Bone.
like, I got to get that. I got to get
There wasn't a lot of
there.
BMWs running around back then.
No, not back then. Not back then.
Between 1981 and 1982, you had multiple arrests for various drug offenses, which led to your first bid in 1983. Can you tell us how you caught that first bid?
I'm a block boy, so I'm on the block. I'm hand to hand, you know. I'm going down there with a bag full of dimes and a bag full of quarters, and you know, I'm going back and forth to the stash. And something like, I think one time I had stuff in the phone booth, like you had phone booths back then, so we was able to put the panel and stick it in
The
there.
whole booth.
Yeah, the whole.
Like the Superman joint.
It would be about maybe, I think at the top of the block, 6 or 7 phones, maybe 4 or 5 phones. Or you might stash them in the pops, because 150th Street is just one block. So, and come to think about it, we had to be crazy, because it's like, where could you really stash some drugs? And if someone could be in the building, could do everywhere, like they could see you, like we had to be out of our mind. But anyway, they caught me maybe at a direct sale. They used to send the agents in, agent come in, and Touter would bring the agent to
Knowingly,
you.
unknowingly?
Unknowingly, most of the times, because they're trying to get high. So Touter brings the agent to you. You make the sale. Once they get off the block, they come back and they pull up. That's a sale.
And catch you with the money. When people say
They
marked
catch you with the
money,
money.
back in the day, the marked money thing was a real big thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I remember people thinking back then that marked money meant it had a mark on it.
That's just the serial numbers that they
serial
knew.
number.
Yeah. Once they give you that serial number, within 2 minutes, they coming on the block. They coming to get you. They confiscating the money, because you don't have drugs on you on the block. It's just money. You know, later on, of course, once you get the money, you're passing the money off to someone, so you're really not having nothing. But at that time, we holding all the money. So I might have got a sale or 2 and a possession. So I had like 3 cases. Went to Rikers Island.
Between 81 and 82, catch 3 cases.
Yeah, 83.
How long had you been on the street now?
Maybe within the first 2 or 3 years. I'm going to the school of hard knocks fast. I'm graduating fast. I mean, not graduating, but I'm getting schooled fast. So I go upstate, had a lawyer at the time, David Cohen. I get 1.5 to 4.5 running concurrently, which means my times ran together. I'm in Elmira.
First bid.
I'm adolescent, so we go to reception, which is in Elmira. That's when me and Tommy Mickens met formally. Like, we knew each other or seen each other on the street, because he's on one side of town, I'm on the other side of town. We were both fairly young, probably around the same age. But in Elmira is when we met and formed our bond. From Elmira, I went to Hudson, which is a place that gives you a key to your room, and you have your own key to your room. I had a 2-man room with a bathroom and a shower. So you tell me, how was I going to learn a lesson but to say, yo, I'm going to be a better criminal, because this is a piece of cake. Came home in 84. Cat has transferred the business from heroin to cocaine. He had the game room. He had the building. It's a new crew. It's me, Jug.
So the inner circle's changed.
The inner circle has changed. It's Mike Bones, it's Jug. Pappy's working security.
Pappy hadn't been part of the circle prior to your incarceration?
No. When I come home, because, you know, while I'm gone, Pappy comes home.
Oh, Pappy Mason.
Pappy Mason comes home. And I guess him and Cat was in Spofford together. So Pappy Mason comes home. He's working security in the game room. I come home, of course, we're trying to figure out what I'm going to do. That's when we had the big party at Olympia Palace when I came home. Not for me when I came home, but it was Preem and Wall's party. So that's the
big everyone famous party with all the video
sees the pictures.
Melly Mel and Curtis Blow.
Curtis Blow and everyone else. That's the pictures that flood the internet. So we figure out.
You're in those pictures.
Of course, I'm at the party. So we figure out, hey, I'm gonna do some dimes, right? Well, matter of fact, my man was doing the dimes, and I kind of like finagled my way in there.
This is powder?
Yes, this is powder at the time, because the game room is quarter grams, which is $25. They're using, like when I left, we're using spoons. When I come home, they're using these digital scales where everything is accurate.
Digital, not triple B?
No. Digital scales, they're 0.25. And then he's telling me the secret. Like I start off with 0.30s and I went to 0.25. So when we did dimes, we go on 0.15s, which is
basically a point and a half.
A
little more than the $10
Once
piece.
the clientele comes up, then you bring it back down to 10. So that's why I say we're bagging $100,000 off a joint. At 10 joints, the crew that's $1 million a week.
How much was the joint going for at that time?
We had consignment 40 from him, but
so profit,
I'm buying 32. I'm buying it. If you paid for it, it's like 32. You had different middlemen that was taking care of that for us, because we didn't have a direct line. Most of those people
meaning Cat didn't have a direct line.
Now, sometimes you have a direct line, but a lot of time it was middlemen that was going to Jackson Heights. So few people, like I said, most of the people I name has passed away. Sometimes we used to see Yap Yap. And of course, Yap Yap, because he talked a lot. So he would go to Jackson Heights, you give him the money, he'd come back. And that's how he was getting work. Sometimes he'd go to Florida. But again, 10 joints, that's $1 million. So besides overhead, so
600, anywhere between $680,000 profit across the 10 joints.
More than that. Like me, I can speak directly about my business. My business was dimes, and from $1,000, they was getting $50 off 1,000. But on their shift, they might do 10 packs. So they made $500, just like I was doing way back when. And you had a security on the block. We ain't taking no singles. So I had a security on my corner. It's no singles. And the money just is going crazy. Premium them, they doing their numbers in Baisley and all over. Like I'm sure people have heard Bim and his stories. Everyone is making money. The projects is making money. It's a good time. You know what I'm saying? We jumping in our joints. We going to the fever. And I guess it's like something like how the rappers are today. It's like I'm going to the fever. I'm coming out and I'm just like you and you. Come on. So it's like, and I'm thinking that this life is never going to earn chicks. Chicks. It's like don't have to talk. It's like, oh, here come them niggas from Queens, because we going in there 10, 15 cars deep. Had to be crazy, like not thinking, because our philosophy was the feds arrest people in Harlem because they sell weight. So as long as we don't sell no weight, the feds will never get on us. That was the philosophy.
Well, back then, that was closer to true than it is now.
Yeah.
Prior to that middle 90s era, they weren't the feds. You had narcotic investigators. You had, different cops, whatever, in concentrated areas that were focusing on particular crews or whatever from time to time, especially when they started doing violent stuff. But the feds wasn't bothering with nobody bagging up.
They was concentrating on the Italians.
Yeah.
Gotti.
Yeah.
Gotti was
and the guys that they were facilitating in our community at the top. They weren't focusing on guys busting down on the block.
Even though he was getting a bunch of money.
It was right. So it was, and they didn't really know how much money Cass was getting until Cass started telling them. So the philosophy was not far from right. It just wasn't indefinite. You know what I mean? That was the mistake a lot of us made. Yeah. We thought that it was how it was what it was always going to be. And we didn't understand that things were changing constantly.
Yeah.
You come home from your bid that you caught in 83. And it's changed over. It's no more the heroin thing. It's now the cocaine thing.
Well, we still had heroin,
primarily,
but primarily it's cocaine.
Right.
Cocaine is bringing
that's what's
all
in
the
vogue
money.
now.
Yes.
What, as far as you could tell, because you weren't on the street to see the impact or the things that impacted that change, right? But there were some things that impacted that change. What were the things, as you understood them, once you touched back down, that impacted that? Because heroin was still money. Like, what was still what?
Well,
you know?
I think people just wanted to be up. Like, heroin might have been frowned upon because of the shooting and the down high, because crack didn't really come in until right before we got arrested. And the reason that we started selling crack again, Yap would come and we would get joints from him, and he would be like, yo, they got this thing uptown. I'm telling y'all, it's already cooked, and they just sell them out the cribs, out the spots. Word? What they call it? It's like crack. So at first we didn't like it because it was fucking time consuming, because you cooking an ounce and then you got to cut it up, and like, no one wants to go through all this shit. You understand what I'm saying? Because you get the girls and you give them the joints, you know what you're getting because you got a scale.
Bottle up girls. Yeah.
I'm talking about when they bagging up coke.
Yep.
You got the scale, so it's digital. You know exactly how much you're supposed to get. So now when they come in with this thing and these valves and this other stuff, it's this these
cooking
other and this expenses, and you know, so it's like, so his brother named Muscles. So Muscles used to cook for us. So again, it started with an ounce, and again, it's getting frustrating because it's like, yo, man, this shit is like it's too time consuming. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't be staying in the house and you're cooking an ounce at a time, and you got to join it. That's 36 ounces that you gotta, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, Cat, one time he told Mus, like, yo, put 100 in there.
100 grams.
100 grams. Mus did the 100. And so now it made it a little bit faster. Then it's like, yo, fuck it, put a half in there. Fuck it, do the whole thing. Now, once he does the whole thing, we off to the races, because that cuts the time. It's like, must take the joint, put shit in his, he had long fingernails, so he used to, you know, scrape the pot, do whatever. I don't know how much he was getting paid. I can't even remember, but, you know, he'd take extra scraping, putting the shit under his fingernails, doing all types of shit. They had like a base house. I think it was like the end of the projects, but
base house was the term before crack house.
Before crack house. Yeah, it was a base house. So, and that's when they would buy the pot and do whatever. So now, when we're doing the crack, that's when Pap leaves the game room as security and has the spot in the projects at the end, and the B-Boys is formed. And
elaborate, tell people what the B-Boys were. The Bevos.
What the B-Boys were for?
No, what was the B-Boys?
The B-Boys, that was Pappy's crew. They put in a lot of work. Yell Bebo when they put in the work. You know, they sold a lot of drugs. They were, Pap was vicious, so he trained his people to be the same way that he was.
You said he was vicious?
Yeah. Yeah, he was vicious. Here's a man, you got 3.5 to 7 and you do 7 years. You know what I'm saying? Like during the, you know, just to fast forward, during when they picked him up for the parole office, like we're in the Queens house. Parole officer that got killed.
They picked Pap up.
They picked Pap up. So we're in there, you know, Queens house is, a floor is divided into 4 parts. So I'm on one part, he's on the other. Pap get into a beef with a police officer. He's putting baby oil on the chair. He's wrapping his head in a blanket, and he's getting ready to go to war. I'm going to go lock in and just let the squad, like, you have that. That's not who Pap is. Pap is going to be like, fuck y'all niggas, and he's going to go to war, and that's who he was.
A warrior.
A warrior.
You know, warriors need war.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good terminology. I gotta use that one.
So now you come home, you transition into the powder game, which evolves or devolves, as it were, into the crack game. And you and your former, boss now become partners in respect to a legitimate endeavor, right? You open up a grocery store.
The grocery store was next to Big Mac's Deli. So we got the grocery store together.
And it's legitimate.
It's legitimate. There's going to be no drugs in there, no anything.
So how do y'all end up catching
out? I mean, from the interim.
It's legitimate.
Yeah, from the interim, Cat wants to open a game room on 119th, which is Preem territory. Of course, Preem gives his blessing. Says slick stuff to me, like if it wasn't for Cat, you wouldn't be down here. No kidding. I mean, but I'm down here because he put me down here. It's not, I'm not stepping on you. Yeah, like, if you said, okay, so this is why I'm here. But I mean, Preem is Preem. That's my bro. You know what I'm saying?
Which is really crazy that he just called right before we started recording. That's crazy.
But I guess you got to let it know, like, listen, little nigga. The only reason you're down here is because of him. All right, that's fine. But I'm down here. So the time we got busted, I'm leaving 118th, where the game room was, 118th and Sufton, 119th and Sufton. I ride down to the block. At this time, we had also gotten into weed, right? So sometimes we know that one rule is you don't sell drugs out of the establishment. They can't come in. Can't come in. Game room, they got to, no matter how cold it is, they have to come outside of the game room and serve the narcotics outside, because if you serve them inside, they have reason to come inside the establishment. So that's the reason that everything was done outdoors. I was on the other side with dimes, so we had a hallway. They got to come. Well, that didn't matter. Like, you could come in the hallway, it was a building. But the establishments, so you had weed in there on the table. Of course, there's guns in there because there's guns wherever we're going. That's just the lifestyle that we're living. And then you had some dope and some coke in the desk. Maybe it was just coming by on the stopover in between, like a stop, like it's going to be a couple of minutes. But, weed, we're not looking at that as nothing, even though it's a pound and they're bagging up the pound to send somewhere. So, lo and behold, I go in there and say, what's up? And when I look up, the police are in the back with gun of the grocery store. With guns drawn. It's me, Jug, Cat, my little man that worked at the game room with me. He came down there with me, and another girl that was bagging up. So they take us, like me, Cat, and Jug, they literally handcuffed us in a circle. Like, our arms are interlocked in a circle, and that's how they handcuffed us. They actually put us in the police car, so we're like all up and crazy in the police car. Like, you got to imagine if you 3 people in a circle.
So you're handcuffed to Cat. Cat is handcuffed to her.
Jug.
She's handcuffed to you?
No, not that. They didn't mess with them. It's us. Cat is handcuffed to me. Then he's handcuffed to Jug, and Jug is handcuffed to me. So we're literally 3 people. They put us in the back seat of the police car.
How?
I don't know. We're sitting there all scrunched up like this. My face is pushing the window, all types of shit. They parade us down to Sufton Boulevard. They take us to 113th Precinct. They put him in a separate bullpen. Cat. They put Cat in a separate bullpen, and everyone is coming from all over the place, like from all over, everywhere, every precinct, Manhattan, Gold Shields, this, that, because it's like we got them.
Now, at this point, quick question: how much was a pound of weed back then, if you can recall?
I don't know. Might be I don't know. I don't know. $1,000. I don't know. I know we got 50 pounds of weed.
And it was regular.
Reggie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Reggie. This is 85. It's not. I mean, you had some smokers that would go uptown and get the Sessamillion. I think that was the seedless weed back then. Mm-hmm. The chunky black. Mm-hmm. Was Brent's? What's that? Branson. Yep. Branson was out then too, right?
That's right. Shout out, big bro.
Yeah. So they did that, but
so why is it such a big deal? Like, how long had Cat been running at this point?
What you mean?
How long he's been in the street that it drew so much attention within the law enforcement space?
Bodies. The block, we was getting a bunch of money. You know, you had Preem with 50 scooters. You know, he had a Maserati back then. It's like I had about 3 cars. I had a truck, a BM, a Saab. Like, we was doing our thing. So but regular police couldn't fuck with us. Mm-hmm. And the feds is not paying us attention. Mm-hmm. So it's just that like
beautiful middle space.
You gotta imagine that it's like every day they seeing us, and then we go into the Encore, which is across from the bus terminal, which is around the corner from the precinct. You know, it's shootouts, it's whatever, and you know, Tommy got Tommy Mickens got Rolls Royces, Preem got
big 7 Series
and
BMs.
Corley got 9 brand new cars, and it's like, I'm a police officer, or I'm a detective, and you got to be like these motherfuckers. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like all the crime that's going on and everything that's happening is like, it's these niggas, and then we can't touch them. That had to be frustrating. Because we're talking on payphone. I don't even think, it's not even no beepers back then, bro.
Oh, yes, it is.
No, 84?
Yes. Mm-hmm. At a certain, like, you ain't got corner boys with beeper.
I
got my first beeper in 85, and I got it from a big homie.
I'm trying to think.
That's not like, nope. But Cat and all of them, that level of Cat at that point, they were starting to use beepers at that point.
Oh, okay.
I remember.
Matter of fact, you know what? You were right. We were starting to use beepers. It was later on after that bit, and I'll get into that, who taught me different codes when it came to beepers. Mm-hmm. So
they all coming in there. They yeah, we got them.
Like, yeah, so we coming in there. We got them. We bail out the next day. He goes to see his parole officer. He gets violated. I go to see my parole officer because, you know, he was behind the desk or whatever. I was just in the back. I go to see my parole officer. I was able to stay out for another 30 days before they violated me.
So, all right, because you still got some time hanging over your head.
From the first bid.
83 bid.
Yeah, so I guess we got busted July 29th, so my birthday is August 25th, so 30 days later, they violated me. So we're both in Queens. I think it was Queensboro, which back then was... Now I think it's a work release facility, but back then it was to hold violators. So we're there. Then they sent me to Queen's house. They sent him to Queen's house, but he didn't stay too long. They sent him to HDM after that, and then I stayed in Queen's house. Parole officer Ryan Rudy gets murdered.
Now this is while you are sitting in there waiting. This is after you get your violation in response to the arrest in the grocery store. So you're not on the street.
No.
You're not on the street when the parole officer, Brian Rooney. He gets killed. Right? And the thing that makes this significant to your immediate situation is because this is a former or current parole officer for Cat.
Yeah, this is Cat's parole officer.
Cat's parole officer. This is at the time that he gets killed. He's Cat's parole officer.
Yeah.
So naturally, it looks like
it falls on him. I mean, because we're still getting money, even though we're locked up. He's more or less still doing his thing.
So he never you got bailed out and then got relocked on your violation, but he never got bailed out.
No, we all got bailed out.
Oh.
He got violated the next day. I got violated 30 days later. So we're both in. So then Prince puts me on to Knapp, Victor Knapp, who specializes in parole. So Victor Knapp...
He's a lawyer that specializes in parole violations.
Yeah, so he did this for Prince, talking about Preem's brother, Preem's nephew. Mm-hmm. So Knapp gets me out on a writ. I'm able to beat the 90 days because they have 90 days to make the violation stick. So I got out on a writ, so I'm able to go out for a couple of months, but they're not letting me get no rhythm because the parole officer get killed. So I might go out a month, 2 months, they violated me. One time they violated me, I was only out for a week.
And the violations are based on like what kind of offenses? Because there's a lot of restrictions when you are on parole, right? And there are a lot of things you can't do. Like you have to have a job. They'll violate you if you don't.
Yes.
You know, you have to have curfew and you have to recognize your curfew.
Yes.
They'll violate you if you don't.
Yes.
Like stuff like that. So they're violating you on like jaywalking and
they violated me for
chewing gum
bullshit.
and breakdancing.
One time I was home for a week. They violated me because they said I didn't live at my sister's address. So that was the lawyer. They stick me, because I had a house in Long Island, in Deer Park. So they stick me out in Riverhead, 2 hours away. And so they bring me for the hearing. And, we had spoke to my sister, so she signed the paper for me. Said I lived there. Let's go to the hearing. Nap pulls out the paper, I got my chest out, like, yeah, I'm going home. Yo, dang, he lives there. Look, signed. Parole officer goes. They sent a paper, signed by my sister, that says he doesn't live there.
Same sister?
Same sister, but it's notarized. So again, it's like my family is not street-orientated. And that was probably, a lesson learned, as we'll speak about later on, why my philosophy is the philosophy. So I'm shocked, of course, but I'm not mad, like, what I'm saying? I'm just like, this is not their life. Like, what I'm saying? I can't get them involved in what I'm doing because this is not what they're doing.
Yeah. You can't expect them to follow up on and back you up on decisions you made without consulting them. You decided you're going to be a major criminal.
Yeah.
Now,
they didn't mind the major criminal money, but of course it's not. It's not the
people.
thing. So,
Rooney
yes,
is killed. This creates a lot of problems.
Yes.
A lot of problems. They're trying to figure out who gets it. So someone is being charged. Someone is being given the blame for Rooney's death. Someone associated closely with Cat.
Yes.
Is that person also in custody or?
Not at first, but then they make the arrest because they feel that, Pappy's in charge of security. Basically, the Bebos, like, there's a problem, they're going to take care of it. So, naturally, if I'm law enforcement, I'm going to look at if they're the ones that take care of the problem, and he is
the boss is
chain.
Officer.
Okay, it has to be him. So they targeted him as the suspect. I don't even think they looked at any other suspects, but that one. They just put 1 and 1 equals 2. So again, I don't know what happened, how it happened, whatever. I'm in this building, he's in that building. So that goes on. I max out August, I believe it was 1987.
87.
I get out for 2 months and then I get remanded for trial. So all the time from 85 to 87 count nothing to the arrest that I got in the grocery store. It all went to my back parole time.
Wow.
So from the trial to then...
they screwed you.
Yeah. Me and Kat had made an agreement while we was in. We're going to split the case up. I'm going to go first. And if I go first, that gives me the ability to testify at his trial and say everything was mine. And they wouldn't be able to do anything because of double jeopardy. And then if I blew, I still could testify at his trial regardless. So, back then...
was that a difficult decision to make, to put yourself in that position?
No, we we abided by mob rules. That was our thing. Like, the mob came first before your family, which probably led to why I had difficulties with my own kids, because I put that family before my own kids, which is something, of course, you're not supposed to do. But again, I'm all in.
In the context of that choice, it is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
it just doesn't really fit with most anything else.
Yeah. So once it said to do it, whether it was a sincere thing for him or whatever, that doesn't matter. because of where my heart was at. It's like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, because I'm looking at, okay, if I'm going down, they're gonna take care of my kids and everyone else. That's the assumption that I'm under. Whether that would have happened or not, I don't know, but
It was a comforting thought.
that's where I'm at. So I go to trial. Knapp is my lawyer. We beat everything except for the weed on the table, and they convict me of 2 guns. I go to sentencing. So Knapp is like, they can run this consecutive, right? Because one doesn't have nothing to do with the other.
One being the initial.
The guns don't have nothing to do with the weed. And the other gun don't have nothing to do with the gun. They're separate incidents, so they can run it consecutive.
Even though they were all caught in the same instance?
Because they don't have anything to do with, this is what he's telling me. The judge begs to differ and runs them. The DA was trying to give me 10.5 to 21.
For 2 guns.
2 guns and weed. 3.5 to 7, 3.5 to 7, 3.5 to 7. I end up, he said he was trying to get me 10.5 to 21. I end up, the judge agreed with what was going, that it was supposed to be run concurrent. I get 3.5 to 7. So now it's time for Cat's trial. So I go to his trial. I testify that, hey, this is mine's, that's mine's. He didn't know because I got drug records. He ain't got no drug record.
Cat doesn't have a drug record at this point.
No, that's his only drug arrest. I got all the drug arrests. So listen, I did that. He didn't know it was in the store. I was sneaking it in the store. Blah, blah.
Your name is on this store? On the paperwork?
I can't even remember. But he's found guilty because it's possessions, like it's Father's Day card, it's this. He's sitting behind the desk, so they said he's the one that was in control of this environment. He's sitting on 2 guns. So Literally. So they still got convicted. They tried to run it consecutive, 25, 25, 25, or whatever it was. He ended up getting 25 to life.
He got 25,
He got 25
to life.
years.
First time that he's convicted for the same 2 guns that you were being charged for?
But you had dope and heroin that I beat that he got convicted of. That's A1
in
felonies.
In the same arrest?
That's A1 felonies. They're in the desk.
Okay.
I beat them.
So you and he were both charged with them?
At the beginning, yes.
And you beat them?
Yes.
And then he was able to be charged with the same evidence? Because,
Because we all was in the same room. Everybody was charged with it. We separated our cases, but it's still the same case.
So they were able to take the same evidence, try you again, then take that same evidence, try somebody else with it.
Yeah, they did that. They did that with him, and they did that with Jug. Jug ended up getting 25 years.
Did y'all know that they could do stuff like that prior to this happening?
Charge each of us?
Yes. You knew that y'all could each be charged independently for the same thing once one of you had beaten it?
Well, it's like this. The way that I was taught is what we're doing, and you can get 25 years. At the pace and the level that we're at, that was acceptable to all of us. We already knew about that responsibility, like we can get a quarter. Like if shit happens, we're going to get a quarter. That's why it was so easy to come to a decision like, okay, I'm going to go first, and if it works, I'll do whatever, because that came with the job. That's part of your job description. You want to get all this money, then you got to do this time when the time comes. So it wasn't a problem for me to say, all right, I got you. I'm going to do that. So from there, I go upstate. We go upstate. It's other shit going on. So I go upstate. I'm still trying to hustle a little bit.
On the street or in the joint?
On the street. I don't do nothing in the joint. I'm a model prisoner. So his sister, everyone would call her sister, and Viola. And one time I spoke to one of the girls that was over there that bags up, and she said, yo, Vi getting high. It's like, word. So I already know, like, that means like I have to stay away because whoever I have coming over there for me, he's going to get caught in the mix. You understand what I'm saying? Because she may do something and blame it on them and they're going to end up getting hurt. So from that point, I fell back.
So she might mess with the package and then...
Anything could happen.
Yeah, because she's getting high. So
I fell back.
Games get
so
played.
While I'm upstate, and matter of fact, the last time I spoke to her was after the police officer got killed. And she's talking crazy on the phone, and I'm getting the information that I heard, and so I fell back.
Did they ever come to speak to you about Edward Burns' murder?
When they called me down, I'm coming. So, damn, I lost my train of thought.
So,
but I got it. So now Edward Burns is killed, right? I'm upstate in Clinton, and they create an investigation. They tap in her phone. I'm out the mix. I fall back. I don't know what's going on.
So you're not caught on these taps?
I'm not calling the taps because I'm not calling no more.
And you stopped calling because you were told that
I stopped that. I heard she was getting high. Plus, the police officers and even, listen, when I was in Clinton and I seen it on the news in the area, and it's like, you know how your gut says, but you're like, hold up. And the whole day room is looking at me.
As
the news comes on, this whole news comes on, they say the area, people's getting ready to go parole board, and everyone's like, and I'm just sitting in the back like, these crazy motherfuckers. So, long story short, from Clinton, I go to Ogdensburg, doing my time. All types of shit is in the air, whatever. People is flipping, people's doing this. But again, I'm out the mix. And one day I get a call like, yo, this is 3 months before I'm getting ready to come home. They said, yo, the Fed is coming to get you tomorrow. I'm like, damn, fuck. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so they take me down there. Take me down to the Feds. That's when I met Chaz formally the first time. We're hearing about each other because people that I know, they're speaking to him. So we met when they called me down for questioning. That's when I met Chaz. Peaceful
journey to the big homie, yeah. Chaz, man.
So
miss him, man.
Go in there, they call me for questioning. They're asking me about the murders, this is that. It's like 5 murders, this, that, whatever. And I'm explaining to them like, okay, hold up. You're saying that I participated in this murder. So what you saying? That a nigga went to see him, and then he came and told them to see me, and then I told them to go do something? I said, that doesn't make sense. So I guess it made sense to the prosecutor. I mean, of course, when I was leaving, she just was like, when I come to get you, it's no deal. But
this is the federal prosecutor.
Yeah, she's right? Like, when I come get you, you don't want to cooperate, it's no deal.
They're coming into prison to try to get you to cooperate.
They didn't come to the prison. They sent for me. They packed me up. They packed me up from Ogdensburg, which is by Canada, brought me to MCC. Matter of fact, when I come to MCC, I forgot my man Country was there. So he's telling the COs that I'm one of them. So, the COs is like, whatever they tell me about Pap, I think this is when they was juicing him up. Because Pap's a wild boy. They was hitting him with the Thorazine. It's like, yeah, man, your man, we let him in a joint. He pulls out razors out of his joint. So they had to start sedating him because he was a wild boy. So again, so they bring me down there. They ask me for the questions. The funny thing is, so I'm kind of fucked up when I'm leaving the questions because she's telling me she's coming to get me and there's no deal. So they put me in a bullpen.
How much time did you have left before they packed you up and sent you to MCC?
90 days left.
So 3 months. How long had you been down at that point?
3 years and 3 months.
3 years, 3 months. Yeah. You're about to finish out. You got 90 days to go, and then they come and say, you come and you talk to us, otherwise
we're coming to get
we're throwing you in this situation. And
yes. I'm telling them, I said, listen, man, I don't know who's cooperating with whatever, but what do you need me for? Like, you have everything you need. People has got time already. And like, maybe you might know just this much. And some of the stuff I might have did know about. But I'm like, so I'm actually thinking I'm getting ready to get another 100 years. Matter of fact, the girl that came to see me, I said, listen, you might as well go ahead. They're getting ready to slam me because I'm thinking it's whatever. So when I left the room,
relationships and everything.
Yeah, when I left the room, they put me in the bullpen with someone that I knew. Right? Not gonna say the name. We had did a couple of business, whatever. He's talking to me. If they'd have put
Is he associated with the situation, or he has his own situation? He's sitting in the bullpen for something else.
He has his own situation, and so he's asking me what I'm down there for. I said, yeah, they asked me questions about all this bullshit.
Where's your head at this point? Like,
my head is like,
you're about to get home, and now
I'm not going home. That's where my head is at. So I'm not really talking. So I asked him, what are you here for? He says they want to know who had more money, Cat or Tommy Mickens, which made no sense to me, but that's not what triggered me not speaking. What triggered me not saying nothing to him was I'm thinking they're coming to get me, and I thought I was coming home. So it's like I have to deal with another situation. That's where my head is at.
So you're mentally preoccupied.
Yes, and he's talking to me about, that shit that me and you did, when I came and I seen you and I did this, and such and such came and said that was me and him. And I'm just like, like.
Yeah, your head is somewhere else.
I'm not trying
You're
to
not
speak.
even present.
So, later on, I'm understanding what the feds was doing. Like, a lot of people don't understand how the feds work. It wasn't until later on that I found out that he's a foreman, because all you got to do is look. What the fuck is they calling you down there to see who got more money? That doesn't even make no sense. But that's what he told me. He called me down here because they wanted to know who had more money, Cat or Tommy. Does that make sense for you to come back down? That's not even where my brain was.
He wasn't down with Cat?
No, but he was someone that...
Was he down with Tommy?
No, he would supply us sometimes. Like, I would make purchases from him. So basically...
So he was a connect?
Yeah. Basically, he was saying that things that me and him did, someone else said they did with him.
Okay.
Not me. So, like, it wasn't until later on that I put two and two together. Not at that time, though, because my head is in a fog.
I want to read something real quick. On February 22nd, 1992, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York submitted documents to a judge stating the following, among many other things. In our view, none of the murder or attempted murder charges could have been proven by this office absent Brian Gibbs' own incriminating statements. Also, while the Kings County District Attorney's Office was actively investigating Gibbs' involvement in murder, we could strongly believe that no indictments or convictions could have been obtained absent substantial new evidence. At the time of his arrest, Gibbs was the principal enforcer for Lorenzo Nichols. Because of his key role, Gibbs was privy to extensive information regarding Nichols' drug trafficking operation and related violence. Gibbs has provided valuable intelligence information concerning drug trafficking, some of it ongoing, by various other individuals in Queens. Those individuals include Lorenzo Nichols' associates Luc Stephen, recently released from prison, Ramel Williams, and Lance, Tony, and Todd Furtado. In addition, Gibbs has provided intelligence information concerning Cobra Johnson, a.k.a. Black Just, Troy Jones, a.k.a. Baby Wise, and James Atney, a.k.a. Bimmy. State investigations of those individuals are underway. Did you know Brian Gibbs well?
No. I met Brian Gibbs when I went to, like, if you fast forward to after me and Cat got arrested in 1985, right before I went to trial, I guess that's when Glaze and him started doing whatever they was doing. So I'm inside. The parole officer gets killed. And I think he wasn't around when the parole officer got killed either. I think he came after that. But I'm inside when the parole officer gets killed. I'm inside when the police officer gets killed. I'm inside when a bunch of things is happening.
The police officer being Edward Burns.
Edward Burns, yes. So after that, so we never had any dealings in the streets at all, period.
So how is it that he was able to invoke your name in the substantial amount of cooperation that he provided?
Well, I really can't answer how he could have done that, but when we're in the streets, right? And this will come out later. Back then, you're in a crew, people talk. You understand what I'm saying? So if he's part of that crew, people's talking. So people saying something. So maybe he picked up on stuff that people were saying and might have said it. I can't really say because I'm not there. So I don't know where he got his information from, but I'm sure he heard different stories. So long story short, I did get home. And of course, back to my old tricks. Because listen, this time they're not going to catch me. I got a couple of offers, but now I want to be my own man. I don't want to be working with anyone. So the offers that I'm getting from people, I'm not taking. And Chaz lent me some money when I came home. And I started hustling in the projects. Came out with 2 for $1s. And it was the same thing. Same movie lines, same whatever. I'm getting money. I'm having a little run. And then my parole officer from prior becomes the head parole officer in Queens. I've been home 18 months. I got a condo. I got a no-show job. And he's like, yo, why isn't this guy on strict supervision? So once they're trying to talk about putting me on strict supervision, I'm not doing that. I'm already home. You're not getting me to go to Brooklyn, piss in the cup. I'm already enjoying life. So again, Chaz was a very good mentor. As far as beepers, he taught me how to do signals with the beepers. Like, when we had the block, we parked right up on the block or 2 blocks up. He had me park like half a mile, take a cab or walk. Like, he gave me strategies that I would be able to use later on when the next phase of the story comes, which is when they wanted to put me on intense supervision. I went to him and I just yo, they want to put me on intense supervision. Like, what you think I should do? And it's like, well, you can't get no more time if they catch you. And I was like, he said, but you got to close down because at this time, the police is arresting my workers in the projects and they're not taking them to Queens. They're taking them to Brooklyn, which means it's federal. So again, I'm not even thinking what was I thinking? I just left before I came home getting questioned by them. I got to have a target on my back. But I'm not thinking like that. I'm just thinking oh, okay, I got them. And that's what happened. So from 92, I came home in 91, and 92 shut the projects down. And I was off to the races. I made sure that I never went any place I've been before because in case someone tells on me, they can't say anything because I don't even know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going next, so how can someone say where I'm going next? And that's the philosophy I lived by and was able to go on the run for those 8 years. Unbeknownst to me, another person that used to work security for me, Nazi.
That's Daryl Little, right?
Daryl Littlejohn.
And
or Johnny Blaze.
Also known as Johnny Blaze,
Johnny
also known
Blaze,
as Nazi.
Also known as Nazi. So Nazi, when I had the projects, he worked a shift, and he's worked security with when we had the game room. He's been around us for a long time. Matter of fact, when I was on the run, I would take him wherever I went. He knew the hotels I came to when I came up. I used to see this spiritual person keep me protected.
Because you were in the room for 8 years.
Yes.
How did you? And he was helping the people.
He wasn't helping the people then because he didn't get the case then.
Okay.
So I started running in 92. So 92, he's with me in Atlanta. He's with me in North Carolina. He's with me in different places. I'm running. I took him different places. When I would come up to see a plug, it would be, I might be on the Bell Parkway. So he actually was telling them what hotels I was going to be in or where we stayed at once he got arrested for his bank robbery. So he got arrested for his bank robbery and basically just put me in his shit. He asked me, did I want to participate? Well, I don't rob banks. I don't have to rob banks. I can get work from some people. That's not what I'm doing. They got arrested. Again, I'm running from parole. So when the feds is kicking in doors, I'm thinking it's for a drug case I got along the way because that's just how I'm moving. I didn't know it was him until maybe, I didn't even know it was the bank robbery until maybe close to by the time they got me. Because now they're kicking in doors, they like 2 years behind me. Then it's 18 months. Then it's 14 months. Then it's 12 months. Like they're on my ass. And I just got tired. And like 2000, I just like,
Turned yourself in.
Turned myself in. They was like a month behind me, like babe, my youngest daughter's mother's not trying to deal with me because they kicking in her house doors that they're literally hunting me down. And when I finally get apprehended, when the feds come to pick, matter of fact, when I tell them the feds is looking for me, when I turn myself in Atlanta, they tell me they don't have a federal warrant. So I have to tell them I got a parole violation. They bring me in. It was a Saturday, and the feds came and picked me up that Monday, told me about a bank robbery, told me about, hey, used to be with Cat, used to be with Pappy, and I'm telling them, like, bank robbery's not on my resume, bro. It's not what I do. You know, at first they looked at me sideways, but by the time we got there, they're believing what I'm saying because I'm like, bro, this is not what I do. I make money. I don't take money. That's not my thing. Then they fly me to New York, and I find out it's a bank robbery. Fed comes, interviews me, says, listen, I'll give you 20 years if you cooperate.
I'm give like, you 20 years.
If you cooperate.
I'll give you the consideration.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, bro, I don't even know what this is about. I don't rob banks. And we fill the case, and that's when I find out and start getting paperwork. Nazi, like, I can remember when I was on the run, I used to go to this hotel, and one time I went to the hotel, and they said, the teller looks at me, and she passes my picture to me, and she says, is that you? And I said, nah. Gave her the picture back, left. So basically the information that they was getting and why they was getting closer, because I had this motherfucker with me everywhere I was going, and basically he put me in, like, you know, I mean, you've seen the paperwork is just basically he was in there, he called the Department of Justice and said, yo, I got a fugitive that you're looking for. He did this, this, and this, and put me in a situation when I used to deal with the spiritual people because I would take whoever was with me to make sure that they was good, that they could be around them. And the only mistake they must have made was with him because they said he was good. That's even in the paperwork, that he's under the impression that they're never going to catch me because I'm doing some Haitian voodoo or something. Which, I mean, I'm just seeing a spiritual person. It has nothing to do with Haitian or anything like that. I just was seeing a spiritual person, and they just happened to. Yes, and every time they said something, they was right, and I ain't gonna lie. If he said don't go down the highway, I ain't going.
So you were bringing people to them that you were associating with
that was
during this
be
period
with
you
me
were on the run.
Oh yeah.
And basically, yo,
what's up with
check
him?
him out. Is his energy good? Can I
and
trust
if his
him?
energy was good, right, I would fuck with him.
So they would write about everybody but him.
But him.
And you got to be wrong once.
So that was the
But
whole
why
thing.
put you in the bank robberies if he knows they're already looking for you and he's trying to leverage you? Why not just say, I know where he is, or I can help you find him?
Listen, you would have to ask him that.
Still, to this day, you don't really...
Listen,
like, what's the
only
logic?
thing, I ask myself the same thing all the time. I knew who participated in the bank robbery, but again, this is my lifestyle, right? I just took it as, well, not at the beginning, but towards the end, because they started finding out that I had nothing to do with it. There's no DNA, there's nothing there to associate. They started finding out that he was lying. They came up with a 5-year cap, which means that I can't get nothing over 5 years if I take the plea.
The plea on what?
The bank robbery.
So they wanted you to plea on something that they had already come to the conclusion you had nothing to do with.
Because Mr. Nazi said he's associated with Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols. So basically, I have a target on my back, or had, because of Edward Byrne. That's what I believe.
Yes.
So they wanted me to do the time. My lawyer came and said, listen, we know you ain't did this. We know you're not guilty, but you're not innocent. I said, let me call my daughter and speak to them. Spoke to my daughter. I said, listen, I can go to trial. They might bring someone in here that I don't even know. I could end up getting 40 years. They want to give me 5 years. She said, Daddy, you should take the 5 years. I said, okay, I'm going to take the 5 years because this is for all. I take this as a thing for everything you didn't catch me on. I got to pay the piper. That's just the law of average. You got to pay. You can't just keep getting away with shit. So it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this. Not once did I say, hey, I know who really did this. Let me say whatever. Nah.
So what ended up happening with Daryl Little, a.k.a. Johnny Blaze,
okay,
a.k.a.
so
Nazi?
I did my federal time. And
You did the 5.
I did the 5. I'm in the halfway house in Brooklyn. A friend of mine has a limousine company. Nazi's home because I'm speaking to people because I'm getting ready to come home. He's home. He's acting like he's a bounty hunter. He's got the vest on. He's running around with guns. It's like, okay, let me get home. So while I'm in the limousine where I'm working at, which is on Dunkirk. So my man has a garage and an upstairs built on top of the garage, which is the office. Some people come to rent a limousine, and I guess they called him Plan B. So lo and behold, they come to rent the limousine. Nazi comes upstairs with the brothers to rent the limousine for me. I'm in the halfway house. So I tell him, we talk about the limousine. I tell this man, oh yeah, let me talk to your man after. I'm still calm and cool. Because that's what real players do. It ain't no yelling, da-da-da-da-da. We're not doing that. So he tells me, he's like, yo, man, why you turn yourself in? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, he said, yo, I wasn't trying to hurt you. Meanwhile, I got papers like this. You telling him about Haitian voodoo. You telling him what hotels I'm in. You telling him who my baby mother is. You are the one that's telling them where these houses is at to go when they're kicking the doors in and getting closer and closer. Because you're my man. You the type of person that if there was a gunshot in the projects, you stepping in front of me. That's who he was. So I'm thinking, this is my dude. He wasn't my dude. So at this point, now from the halfway house, I have to sit in the limousine office, because that's how I get out the halfway house, and I got to have a gun in the limousine office with me because, we got cameras, so I'm going to see him coming if he's coming. But there's no way that I can sleep on him because I know he's not going to sleep on me. 2 days later, he gets arrested for killing. He was a bouncer. So there was a girl from Boston, a college student. I'm not familiar with her name. That was the dude from The Witness. I forgot what her name is. Alien, something like that. She was from Boston. He was a bouncer. He changed all the rules for bouncers. He got arrested. He wrapped her body up in a blanket, put her in a mall by the Belt Parkway, and he went to jail 2 days later. And I didn't have to have a gun anymore. I had the office with me.
Was it a
She was a college student.
Rape?
I don't know what it was, but he killed her, wrapped her up in a blanket from his basement, and dumped her. So at first, until we had our conversations, I thought that I didn't think that he would do it because I'd never seen no sign of him raping or killing a woman. But if you told on me and put me in a situation that I didn't do, why would you not tell on someone else if you had a chance to? So yeah, right. You did it.
Right. There was nobody else to blame.
You did it.
Mm-hmm.
So
he ended up with life.
I don't know what he got. I just know that I'm sure he does because he had a record. You know what I'm saying? So, and that made national news. That changed the laws of bouncers can't be ex-felons, or they didn't want them to be ex-felons, and you had to get a license. The girl's parents from Boston was very strong, so there was a lot of publicity around that case.
A bit.
Matter of fact, what's the guy that did Queens Reign Supreme? The white guy with Schoon.
Brown.
Ethan Brown. Ethan Brown put the case in his book called Snitch because I think they focused it on him and someone else from North Carolina that they let release for telling or lying on someone, and they went on to
commit
murder some
crimes.
people. Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a book out there. Snitch.
Yeah. So you come home from the feds in 2005.
The end of 2005, that's when I'm in work release, yeah. Okay. So I officially come home in 2006.
Okay. So you officially like out in the street?
I'm out in the street. I'm home confinement. So I'm out.
Okay. And just two short later, I mean, well, what do you you coming home, you're preparing to come home, what do you think? And what's going to happen when you touch the ground? You know, last time it was switching from heroin to cocaine. What we doing now?
It's not the same mental, because this is 3 bids in. It's about trying to do something different and be someone different.
So what do you think you're going to do when you touch down? What's the plan?
My first plan was actually to become a personal trainer, because in prison I became a personal trainer and I got paid by teaching a personal training class to people to get certified. So that was my thing and that was my goal.
Is that what you did initially once you got your liberty?
Yes, that's what I did initially.
Okay.
I was a personal trainer.
Okay.
I wasn't able to work for a gym like I wanted to because there were situations with my my green card. So because of the what's my man with the 9/11 or
Bush?
No, the dude that did the towers.
The first guy? Oh, you talking about Osama bin Laden?
Everything changed after that.
You talking about the guy that they propagated as that?
Yeah, so everything changed after that. So it took me damn near 2 years to get an ID. So by that time, I couldn't work for corporate as a trainer. I had to do stuff on my own and hustle and get my own clients.
So for those 2 years up until about 2008, you were basically an independent
trainer.
Okay.
When I first came home, also when I was finished, Kat had put me with Curtis Schoon.
Shout out to Kurt.
Yeah, shout out to Curtis Schoon.
Shout out to the Snake Charmer.
Curtis Schoon was doing a segment.
That's who introduced us.
Oh yeah, Curtis Schoon was doing a segment with American Gangster.
Mm-hmm.
They was doing a Fat Cat episode.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they're gonna put me in the Fat Cat episode because ain't nobody left.
You was on the street. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did that because we was trying to push his script, which was
that's the BET series on American Gangster.
That was the BET series. Because I had my own ideas, but he already was so far in the game. Like, again, I'm a thinker, and I'm a team player. So it was like it made more sense for me to get in the car with him because he was already driving. So why start back here when he's already up there? Let me get in the car with you and let's ride.
So you had these ideas you're referring to are ideas in terms of some sort of production.
Not right away. My ideas were just basically I could have came up with something because I think I did a article with As Is. So, it's just like you're just fishing. You don't really know what you're doing. I know I want to personal train, but the thoughts and the ideas because people's coming because I'm the last of the Mohegans. So people is coming at me, with different ideas. So I'm entertaining them. But I rolled with him. He had a script that he was trying to push, Officer 1013. He had a meeting one day. He told me with, I think it was Cinemax or Showtime. And he said they didn't want to take the project on because they was looking at this project that was that Forrest Whitaker was pushing about a big dope dealer in Manhattan.
A gangster. A big gangster.
Yeah, named Bumpy Johnson. And that was then. Again, of course, shout out to Marquand and Successful on that series with Epics, The Godfather of Harlem, dope show, dope brother. So, again, that's my transition of what Spoon was, and now I'm becoming Luke. I'm getting acclimated with.
How did you get the name Spoon?
Because you were spooning heroin. It's no scales.
And you were proficient.
Yes, I was proficient with it.
So you created your first company, official company called Second Chance Enterprises, right?
Yeah, Second Chance Enterprises I created in 2012. I started with comedy shows, parties. You met a lot of comedians. Rip Michaels, one of them. Shout out to him. Ray DeJean, I was doing comedies. Shout out to Wax, I was doing comedy shows with him and some parties. So, after doing the American Gangster series, and I didn't mention like the first year I was in it because it was about Cat. The second year I was a consultant on the Preem episode. So I kind of like got it, and I wanted to get into it. I got the bug, but it was just, of course, you got to eat for today. So started doing the comedy shows, and I think Chaz again introduced me to someone. And there was a show called Money and Violence. Shout out to Mo.
Yeah.
They had a good show, and it was the idea of like, let's do a web series like that. And I got into that, and we created a few projects. After that, I believe I got a shot from Shaft of KSR Music Group. He's got artist Hood Celebrity, Josh, and he's the one that first gave me my budget to create something. He put me with a writer, and she wrote Sister's Keeper, and I co-directed and produced it. It's 10 episodes. He was supposed to develop an app called, I'm trying to think what was the name of the app. He was supposed to be called Urban Spotlight. So he was creating an app, Urban Spotlight, that was supposed to be showcasing it. And so, of course, team play again, I work on the back end. So I basically put stuff together, got the crew together, got the actors together. We made it work. We did 10 episodes, and the app didn't come out, which meant I didn't get any money, but I got a ton of experience. From that situation, another director, Sean Baker, and Don Kwan, who wrote Better Than My Last, they put me on that project. That was my first semi-big independent production. Hassan Johnson stars in it. Shout out to the homie Hassan. And, that should be just about finishing now. I mean, he started doing some things with 50, and you can't get in the way of progress. So that kind of delayed the things a couple of times. But that should be getting ready to come out in the near future. Then Kenneth gave me a call.
Supreme.
And he said, yo, man, I want you to work on my documentary about my case. And of course, it's no question, no problem. I'll do that. We shot some reenactments. We wanted to do some more things with it. It's called The Mundane Truth. He's very intricate on working it also. He's hands-on with it.
I've been to Supermax in Maryland. I've been to Rikers Island, ADX, Smooth program. This lockdown we just had just now, it was the craziest lockdown. This motherfucker fed nigga bologna for lunch and dinner for 4 weeks straight, yo.
Oh my.
They had a fucking race war, and this shit got crazy. And we just coming back up. I mean, we're not even back up all the way right now.
Got you. So I'm definitely going to speak about your involvement in the documentary, Witness for the Defense, the Mundane Truth. So like all this is, you promoting your own joint right now. You know that, right?
How am I doing that?
Because you're talking to me.
It's not live, is it?
No, we're not live, but
No.
Cavavio is right there, so he's a fucking reporter. So he's gonna fucking report.
I'm a journalist.
Oh, sorry, he's a he's a journalist. You know what I'm saying?
You know what happens to journalists in Mexico? Luckily, we're in the States. We're in the United States. My whole thing is, this is no longer even about freedom anymore. It's about the truth.
Mm-hmm.
My fight is really about just me getting my truth out there.
That's all it's ever been.
I just wanted to add that in there so
Oh no.
people understand what
The
my
mo-
fight is really all about.
the mundane truth, proof of innocence, brother. That's what we working on.
That's why we call it the mundane truth, because the mundane truth, the mundane means it's boring, it's not exciting. People don't really want to hear mundane.
Right.
They want to hear flash and glitz and shine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But see, sometimes you gotta force a motherfucker to sit down and listen to the truth.
Yes.
We gonna do that.
And once we get this shit finished, we're gonna let Guevara get one of the first joints. So you know what I'm saying? He get the exclusive. You know what I mean?
I got you. No problem.
My brother.
All right.
All right.
Let me jump off. I gotta jump in the shower.
Yeah, do your thing.
All right, beloved.
All right.
All right,
talk to you
later.
soon.
What up? All right.
All right.
Peace.
He got Mike Tyson to be an executive producer, which gave me a line with Mike Tyson. Irv is an executive producer.
Irv Gotti.
Michael Payton, who did the Murder Inc. documentary, is an executive producer. So he kind of like put me in. So, you know, things are starting to change, and the company I'm keeping is starting to change from the Spoon days.
Yeah, I mean, you're a creator, a writer, a producer, director. Really, you're working.
Yeah.
You know. So you're currently producing a documentary titled "Witness for the Defense: Proof of Innocence," which is executive produced by Mike Tyson. That's the thing with Michael, with Peyton, and right.
Mm-hmm.
But you also got your hands full with a lot of other things. Like you had your earlier work. I don't think that you mentioned it's distributed by Dame Dash Studios.
Dame Dash Studios, also Homestead Entertainment, and
Indie
Indie
Rights.
Rights.
Yeah.
That's the earlier work.
They can be, that stuff can be seen on the streaming networks,
Tubi,
right?
that can be seen on Tubi.
Would you recommend that any independent creators go to a network like Tubi to monetize their product? Maybe speaking to the camera.
If you're an independent creator, there's nothing better than to be on Tubi. It's a bunch of great creators on there, and you're gonna get more dollars for your work than anywhere else. Trust me when I tell you. I've seen people make a ton of money. I haven't made a ton of money. I make some money, but I've seen people make a ton of money on Tubi. So if you can, I do distribute also. So, you know, you can holler at me and we'll get your stuff distributed on Tubi. If you're an independent filmmaker, hit me up.
With finished products, right?
Finished products.
That's right.
Once I started, and also with Schoon, we worked on this project, Born to Box, which took me to Detroit also. It's a brother, I got to shout him out, K. Deasy. He's an artist out of Detroit. We was following each other online.
What up, though, K. Deasy?
Oh, you know K. Deasy?
We have very close associates in common.
Okay. So K.
You
Deasy,
mentioned him the other day. I made some calls.
Okay, so K. Deasy tells me to come out to Detroit. He wants to introduce me to his man. We go out there to see K. Deasy. He introduces me to Dennis Reed. Dennis Reed is a great independent film director. He's part of the Homestead Camp, which is one of my distributors.
I've seen his name.
Yes, so he's doing a lot of work, and he's blessing me with backing a film written by Kwame, who we call Dutch, called Cream.
Shout out to the homie Kwame T.
Shout out to Kwame.
You know him from the Dutch, the urban series, the hit urban series, the Dutch series that everybody loves.
He doesn't get all his credit for it, but he should.
No, he should.
Same as Angel.
Yeah, we wrote a main script too. I sent to you.
Yeah, you sent me the script. Mm-hmm. He also is the writer of Sin, which has Lou Gossett, Marquand, Rip Michaels, Shiggy, Sean Nelson, Angel Love, Bella Black, and Cayenne is in this movie. Hopefully, maybe by late spring, you guys will get to see it. Phenomenal movie that also came about because of my work on Witness for the Defense, The Mundane Truth, with
Which is
Preem.
Supreme. That's Supreme show. Right?
That's who put me with the EP because he was helping out Preem. And they came to me and said, hey, we got a joint that we want you to help us with, which turned out to be Sin. And that's how I got with Kwame. So I got another joint from Kwame called Snow that's being looked at right now. I've hollered at some people to give me some tapes. He has Cream. After we finish Sin, we got Othello, which is about a Haitian gang, which is a spin on the Shakespearean tale of Othello, which should be dope. Currently, right now, I'm filming and directing Self-Defense from a friend from my prior work, Christopher Copeland, known as Bug Out. He's putting that together. But, you know, it's just about opportunities. And just like the same way that I hustled in the streets, it's just life is a hustle. I just got to keep pounding. I got to definitely shout out my Vibes family, Keisha and Chuck, because they've kept me on this journey correctly. Because, you know, sometimes the journey ain't always easy. I got to shout out Dame Dash for those prior works and putting me able to know about the Tubi thing. I got to shout out to Omar, who is the head of acquisitions there, keeps me in the loop. I've met some dope people on this side of the fence, you know, that it's some dope people, bro. I got to shout out my director, Ebenezer Nazir, who you're definitely going to hear about with Sin. Yui, who was the EP of Sin and was the EP of one of the EPs of Witness for the Defense.
EP's the executive
producer. True Light Films, who until I met him, I didn't make no money in this film thing. So you got to remember, I started in 2015. I didn't start making no money until 2000 when me and him met and started doing music videos and other shit. He's my main DP right now. So again, for y'all out there trying to do this, like, it don't happen overnight. Just like selling drugs or whatever else you're doing, you're not going to blow up overnight.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're getting into this industry, you got to put the work in.
That's right. Humbly.
You have to put the work in.
Yeah.
If you don't put the work in, it's not going to work.
No reward. Lou Gossett Jr., every award an actor can receive, Academy Award winner. You, so early relatively in the game in terms of, you know, light being shed upon the work that you've done and doing.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like working with Lou Gossett Jr., man?
So when I first came to New York, they had 2 movie theaters on Jamaica Avenue. My mother used to take me to matinees to see Lou Gossett Jr. So awesome. It was like, you know, and then he's like, yo, I had to call Stevie Wonder because he plays a blind painter. It's like, yeah, I had to call Stevie Wonder so I could get some notes on how to play this role. And if you watch the role, you'll think he's a blind person. He's not moving his eyes. It's not like we put stuff in his eyes. He just naturally got into that role and he played that role to a T.
It's got to be impacting to be able to watch a
legend.
master
Bro,
up close like that. And you're working with him. You're not bringing the coffee. You are directing this man.
No, I produced AB. Abena Nazir is the director.
Oh, okay.
Kwame's Choice, or Dutch as we call him. But we went to his house. Me and AB, we went to his house. You know, he got the pool in the living room to the outside. You know, and he's just talking. Yeah, he's just talking. No, all indoor. You know, you come in and the pool's on this side, kitchen here, and it's just like you sitting there with a living legend. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just different, you know.
Yeah, man.
It's
I
just
can imagine.
different. It's just an awesome feeling. And it's like, you know, so me being an independent filmmaker to say I got an Academy Award winner on my project is like, I did a lot. Like people would be saying, yo, you need to write a book. You need to do something. I'm like, bro, I didn't get there yet. Like, what you mean you didn't get there yet? You went from here to here, you're doing this. But I don't feel I'm successful. Like a quick story, again, Chaz, when I first started, he said, yo, man, you need to go to the American Black Film Festival. What's American Black Film Festival? He said, yo, man, me and Master P used to go to these joints, man. There was a kid there. He used to be having his tape or his DVD or whatever. You go to the hotel, he got his DVD. We go to the seminar, he got his DVD. You go to the movie theater, he got his DVD, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yo, he said, you know who that kid was? I'm like, nah. He said, Will Packer. First time I went there, Will Packer spoke, talked about his evolution, like $100,000, $300,000 budget, $500,000 budget, $1 million budget, $2 million budget. And it's like, okay, you know what? That's the route. So my budgets are getting bigger and better. So I don't try to get a big budget to line my pockets up. I'm trying to get a bigger budget to create a better work of art. Because now it's about the art. It's about the business too, but it's about, I want to create something so crazy that the world is going to remember me. I got to leave a legacy for my grandkids. I got to get some money because I fucked up with my kids because of my lifestyle. I got a second chance with my grandkids. Like, I don't even want my grandkids to know about what I used to do. Like, if you Google me now, that shit doesn't come up. Who wants to be Googled and it says dope dealer, drug kingpin? I don't want that. My shit says film producer. That's
right.
And you got to go through a whole bunch. There's so much shit because I done put in so much work. You're going to have to, if it wasn't for these interviews, some people wouldn't even know about it.
Wouldn't even know. That's right. That's right.
But I got to say my truth, though.
That's right.
To help the next person.
That's right. That's right. Somebody somewhere at some point in your previous pathway that can maybe from this get an opportunity to say, you know what? I don't have to go through the rest of this stuff if I know that I can get there from here, right here. I can make whatever change in mind that he made at a later point in this story. I can't assume I'm going to make it that far, you know, and then be able to have an opportunity to implement some new idea, you know. So it's very important that your story, all your story, be shared, you know. Mm-hmm. Speaking of impact and the people and the places and circumstances, you know, in this country that we come from, because Haiti's a whole other thing. Mm-hmm. But oftentimes when you come from the hood and you begin establishing yourself in this industry, the places it places you in the public eye, right?
Okay.
And you know, some people back home begin to act as though you've made all your dreams come true. And so now you should start working on their dream. Even for people that have established track records, it's often, you know, well, before you, I mean, have you come across that though? Like, have you come across that where it's like, you got it, Spoon, come on.
Yeah.
Hook it up.
Yeah. I mean.
How you deal with that?
Listen. It'd be people you know, it'd be people you don't know. I get millions of messages about I got a project that's going to light the world up. Bro, don't you think I got my own projects that I'm trying to do? Like that just goes out the window. And you see me with these projects, but they're getting financed by people. Do I make money from them? Yeah. Do I get rich from them? No. That's why there's no book. When I get rich, then the public, not the homies, not the whatever, would be interested in where did he come from? So now when I do that and I get to that plateau, now it's time for the book to come out because now everybody wants to know where did it come from? Like, how did you become this person? Then you become important to other people. Like right now, I'm important to loved ones. I'm important to my family. I'm important to myself. I'm important to my team. But to the world, till I win, they don't give a fuck about me.
That's right. Where's the proof?
They don't give a fuck
What's the
about
proof?
me.
Even for people that have established track records, it's often very difficult to get financial support in the film and television space. Who was the first person to give you a budget?
Shaft, KSR Music Group. He started with what he didn't start. He started Little Kim DJing. I think he was doing an internet business in Haiti, and then of course his claim, historically Cardi B. Now he has Hood Celebrity. Shout out to Hood Celebrity. Shout out to Shaft. Shout out to Josh. Shout out to KSR Music Group. Always my family. I just was in Puerto Rico for his birthday a couple of months ago. Dope weekend. Plenty of love, Can't complain. He's Haitian too.
Oh, that's
I try to keep the Zoes in the mix.
I mean, hey, you got to do that. You got to do that, I was talking to the homie Unique Mac Audio.
Okay.
And he told me that you were familiar with his channel and which he's gotten very, very popular doing the prison story thing.
Yes, I heard.
Stuff like that. What would you say to people like Unique that have had unique experiences that would translate well into a film or television series and stuff like that about, taking those things that they're doing short format in terms of the podcast, doing short format presentation and expounding on that and making it into something, that someone like you could do something.
I would tell him, number one, to pursue it. And number two, he has to get a script generated. A lot of people come to me with an idea. Again, like I said, I went to seminars, right? You tell me your idea, it ain't your idea no more.
That's
You
right.
don't put it in the universe.
That's right.
So you can't, when a person, he stole my idea. Like, it ain't your idea no more once you tell someone. You know what I'm saying? So Robert Townsend taught me that in a seminar. Once you put it out there, it's out there. I don't want your idea. Go get me a script, write a script down, that way I could tell you by reading your script how much it's going to cost for me to produce this script. And depending on what kind of talent you're in, what kind of talent you want, I'll be able to figure out what this is going to cost you. But I can't tell you what, like people be like, yo, what it costs to shoot a movie? I don't know. It could cost you $10,000 to shoot a movie. It ain't going to be a good movie, but so you can't ask me what it costs to shoot. Oh, I got a doctor. Yo, my life is the bomb. Like, yo, bro, everybody got a street story.
Indeed.
It's a street story in every fucking city. What makes yours so special? If your story ain't special, if your story ain't linked to probably something within the hip-hop world, because there's drug lords everywhere. That's the same old story. What makes your story different? Like, okay, you was getting money over there. This nigga was getting money over there. You killed 100 niggas over there. They killed 100 people over there. What makes you special? Like, for example, Preem's story is interlocks with Murder Inc. Cat's story changed laws. He's not the first person that probably did, well, he didn't do this. He's not the first person whose team is associated with a police officer getting killed. You have bank robbers that banged out with police all day. Chaz escaped from jail as a lawyer. Chaz was robbing banks while he was on work release. That's
In
a
prison.
story. And going back to prison after he robbed the bank, like, that's a story. You got to do more than just you was getting money. You know what I'm saying? BMF. That's a story. They changed the whole culture. They got a whole culture behind them. That's a story. And that's why they got a story.
Right. So, one last question. After all your experiences, going through the system and dealing with how I've read a lot of the paperwork around your situation, some of the ridiculousness of some of the agreements of some of the people who've cooperated against you, some of the things they agree to, some of the things they subject themselves to, the dehumanization, the demoralization that they subject themselves to, what you go through in the prison, what you go through in courtrooms and so forth. Do you think that if young people in the hood were given a semester of education on how the operations of the institutions of criminal justice and corrections actually impacts lives, the lives of those who are caught up in it, you think they'd be less inclined to choose the streets as a route? Not you can go to jail for 25 years. No, what it is like to be in a courtroom, it is like to live day to day in a prison.
Well, I think the first thing that people got to realize is when you go to jail, you're not the only one doing time. Your family is doing time. Your kids is doing time. Your wife is doing time. It ain't just you. You could say, yo, I'm doing what I do to make sure I put food on the plate for them. But you hustle for 2 years. Let's look at, all right, so we do the math. If I make, say, $10,000 a week, how much is that in a year? $500,000. If I go to jail for 20 years, what is that $500,000 equivalent to? Nothing. Is it worth it?
Calculable.
So it's like you could do stuff now, but you got to do stuff for them forever. And that's something I had to learn the hard way. Through trials and tribulations with my children, I still go through something with one of my offsprings now. Like, we don't speak. I put them through so much trauma because I didn't put them first. I put the family first. So I put them through things that they shouldn't have been put through. And again, like I say, my grandkids, I don't want them to never see, hear, none of that. So it's like when they call, I'm coming, because they first.
Well, Luc, I really appreciate you coming here and sharing your story here on Vlad TV, being as honest and as humble as you are, and you know, giving that insight that can only come through hard-earned experience, man. I can't tell you how proud I am that you persevered through all your hardships and the betrayals and stuff like that. That stuff can really break a person, right? And you know, to come to this point where you're having this kind of impact is significant, bro. And I wish you well in all your endeavors. I look forward to, you know, watching you do great things.
That's all I'm going to do is some great things.
You dig? And, yeah, man, thank you very much, man.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. You know, I guess the takeaway from this ultimately is less exposition, more execution. Stop talking. Start doing. Vlad TV out.